beautiful day to review an episode of Smallville. Hello? Fine, I'll shut up. That phone didn't ring. Anyway, welcome back to the Smallville Retrospective. I'm Scotty. You're not. We are on Season 1, Episode 15, Nicodemus. This is the third episode, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21 online. Okay, so, episode is about Flower, right? Flower that makes this stuff that makes people behave erratically. We get the return of Dr. Hamilton. Dr. Stephen Hamilton is revealed in this episode. He is back, Joe Martin, back again. Also, this guy at the beginning, Mr. Beals, he would come back later under a different name, different character named. So I got Fly messing around on my counter. Hold on a minute. So it was like a little fly or gnat or something. It was bouncing around on my counter, pissing me off. Anyway. It was distracting me is what it was doing. So, this actor who played Mr. Beals, very briefly in this episode, go on to play another role later in the series, Dr. Grohl. Just mention that. But yeah, we start with this guy, Beals, driving down the road. And then we see Jonathan driving in his truck, and he turns on the radio, and what comes on? Just a good old boy. Never meaning no harm. I lost it. I started laughing. I'm like, you gotta be... Of course it was a reference, but it made me laugh, okay? They get in a car accident, and Mr. Beals had this flower that he stole from Dr. Hamilton. And looking back at this episode, having just watched all the way through, there is no other reason that this guy would have it other than so that it can get out and infect the people that it does. It infects Jonathan, it makes him more erratic, or he's more sexually charged, behaving more like a teenager, as they mention it. He's making out with his wife in the middle of the kitchen, he's slacking off on the chores, and then he gets a phone call from the bank saying that they are not approving his loan. So he goes nuts, driving very erratically into town. And then brandishing a shotgun, he even accidentally shoots Clark. And that's when he starts to... passes out. Because it affects him. And they say that he and Beals are the only ones that are affected like that. You know. So, the school, though, is also having this assignment. Like, if you could do anything you wanted, what would you do? Lana talks about climbing to the top of the windmill in some field, where if you go to the top, you can see the Metropolis skyline, which sets, in this universe, that Metropolis is very close to Smallville. The Metropolis is in Kansas, where other places may have you think that Metropolis is states away, you know? Even in Superman and Lois, it seems to be like it's a little farther away than just the next city over. You know what I mean? But you can see the skyline from there. It's going to be pretty damn close, right? So, yeah. Whitney's in this episode for a short amount of time. He's got a haircut now. He doesn't have the little over-bang stuff that he has had. He finally got a haircut, but he's only in this episode for like a meh. After Lana gets infected, after Lana gets affected by the Nicodemus flower, because her and Chloe go out to check the crash site, and they find, well, Lana finds the flower, she gets infected, and then stomps on the flower. I don't know if that was a conscious decision, so that they couldn't find it. I don't know. What I'm frustrated with in this episode is Lex's inability to tell the truth. He is completely found out here and refuses to tell them the truth. What bad could go wrong by saying, yes, Dr. Hamilton and I are working together. I am interested in the meteor rocks because of what happened to me. He can still bend the truth, because I found out that I have an unusually large white blood cell count, and I'm not sick. And I think it might have been from the meteor shower that affected me. And so I'm trying to figure out what the effects, and you can't deny, Clark, that there's something going on in this town with people and meteor infection. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. He could have just laid it out. But no, he's got to be so secret about everything. Pikachu knows everything. He's got to be so secret. You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of him being so secret. I'm going after Luther. Did I get hit by the flower? Oh, shit. I joke. I kid. I am gonna go get my water, so I'll be right back. I like cutting it and then coming back. I'm in the middle of drinking something. So, yeah. Yeah, he just doesn't tell the... He could put together some version of the truth, especially when he's caught by Pete. And I think that's when the episode kind of falls apart for me. Because, well, Lana gets infected, right? She starts behaving very erratically. She seduces Clark, basically, in the pool, in the school pool. She seduces him, basically. He gets under her underpants, you know, undergarments, and does a backflip into the pool. I refuse to believe that was Kristen Kruick. They pushed her away, so I think it was a stunt double. But she, like, does a swan dive into the pool, and then pushes Clark into the pool. They make out a little bit. She's like, I know you like me, Clark. Are you in love with me, Clark? And he's just like, even later, he tells Chloe, she said everything I always wanted her to say. So it's, you know. But she pushes Clark into the water, and then, you hear a noise, she takes off, and Quan is standing there when Clark comes out of the water. And he gets in trouble, but Lana does not, which means that he did not tell Quan Lana was there. He protected her, because, you know. But she shows up at the town, and she closes early, even though Lex is right there, and he's like, town closes at 9. She goes, not today. She steals his car. Where she go out to the field to climb that windmill, and that's when she falls. Clark catches her and takes her to the hospital. And they say that the Beatles, well, earlier they said he was into a coma when they took Jonathan in, and now Jonathan's in a coma. Yeah. Eventually they say that Beals dies. You don't need an actor anymore. But Luther goes to talk to Hamilton about what's going on. Find out that Nicodemus was a flower way back in the olden days that affected the settlers there and caused them to freak out. And eventually a bunch of them died, so they destroyed all the flowers. We find out. But Dr. Hamilton is using the meteor rocks to bring the endangered species, the extinct species, back to existence. So that's what it was. And so Chloe and Pete decide. Pete has voiced his opinion on Lex, not just in this episode, but the last couple episodes. We find out that his father swindled his family out of the cream corn factory. That's where the cream corn factory came from. It was Pete's family. But he blames Lex for it. And you know, Lex is not exactly telling the truth about everything, but he's not exactly his father either. I'm going to defend Lex, at least in this early season, because he's not completely bad yet. You know what I mean? That's a weird aftertaste to it. Oh no! Nicodemus powder! No, I did that joke. Want me doing it again? I don't know. Stop calling me! Still didn't ring. Anyway, I'm having fun with this, okay? So, back to the episode. Chloe, I must have called her Clois for some reason. Chloe and Pete go to check out Hamilton's lab where Pete gets infected. And this is where I think the episode falls for me. He freaks out. He starts telling Chloe how he really feels about her, and then he grabs a gun, takes her car keys, and drives to Lex's mansion, where he, Really, Fly? You saw that, right? Fly into frame? Just getting my bill, Fly. That was totally bad. I was trying not to hit the bottle. Get ya! Anyway, where the hell was I? Right. So Pete shows up at the Lex mansion, Luthor mansion, Luthor mansion, and brandishes a gun towards him and Dr. Hamilton are both there, and he's all freaked out. I knew you could trust her. You're working together, blah blah blah. And they have this diary that has the cure, basically. And he keeps saying Metropolis doctors. He's talking to Hamilton, because Hamilton's the only one that would know the cure. And again, he could have pulled this. He could have spun this around, saying, "Well, after you mentioned him by name, I decided to search him out and try to look him up, and he is helping find a cure." Again, you could have just said that, but instead he denies. He denies knowing him. It's frustrating where you can sort of tell the truth, Lex, and you choose to bull-face lie. Because he's Lex Luthor, and you gotta make him a bad guy, and it's frustrating, and I don't think Lex should have been a main character right away. It's just, he should have shown up later. Anyway. I mean, it works. Matt Rosenbaum's great, but I don't know. Something about Lex Luthor being around. By the way, Lana hits on Lex. Again, 16, and he's like 25. He's supposed to be older than the rest of them. They're all close to the same age. But he's supposed to be older than the teenagers, who are obviously played by 20-year-olds. But she's supposed to be 16, and she's hitting on him like. I'm just gonna say it. This flower turned Lana into a whore. I'm just saying. I'm like 16, I kept saying. Anyway, so Clark shows up conveniently after Dr. Hamilton left and doesn't see him. And this book of theirs is in the fire. They get it out. But Clark decides to join Pete's side, but it's all a ruse. And he knocks Pete unconscious and picks Lex up. And he's taken to the hospital. And they find a cure. And everyone is A-okay. But of course, conveniently, no one remembers a damn thing. And they don't even specify, what the last thing Jonathan remembers. I'm assuming it's the car crash. the accident. But I don't know. And then we have Clark and Lana on the windmill looking at the Metropolis skyline. In the middle of the day, so you wouldn't be able to see it. But I'm just saying. Nitpick. You wouldn't be able to see it. This gets 3.5 out of 5 Superman logos for me. I think it's a decent episode. But the ending kind of spot. We have to have this big climactic showdown between someone and Lex. It has to be Pete, I guess. I don't know. They also didn't show what would happen to Clark if he was infected by the Nicodemus. I know they do something with that with Red Kryptonite in Season 2, but if it got him, because it's laced with kryptonite, or meteor rock, sorry, we're not using that term yet, meteor rock, would it have affected him different? Would it have made him sick? That's what I want to know, but, it's fine for what it is. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? Leave me comments, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.